Donald Trump's India visit is not going to be just an empty spectacle with a lot of optics. There's no trade deal, of course, but there's much more. Because after the clearance of 24 MH-60 Romeo helicopters for the Indian Navy yesterday, now the Modi government has also green-lighted a deal for 6 more iconic American Apache helicopters. This second deal will also be announced by Modi and Trump when the US president is in India. The Romeos are coming, and the Indian Navy couldn't have wanted them sooner. But these aren't the only US choppers the Modi government will be signing up for when President Trump arrives. The other deal cleared by the Indian government is for 6 of the iconic American Apache helicopter. Already under induction into the Indian Air Force since September last year, the new deal will be for the Indian Army. But first, just why is the Apache so iconic? Look closely at these pictures. This is an undisclosed location in Iraq in 2008. The shadowy figures you see, insurgents on the move late at night. They think they've got the cover of darkness, but something devastating has them in its sights. And before they know it, they're vaporized by hell unleashed from above.
This is 86, be advised we're approaching from the south.
Now shift your attention to Afghanistan. A lone Taliban fighter is visible here, attempting to sneak up on an establishment of the International Security Assistance Force.
All players understand weapons were fired from the individual tracking.
Failing to penetrate the location, he attempts to retreat, clueless that he's been spotted by a pair of eyes in the sky. And before he knows it, what you've just witnessed are but 2 instances of swift destruction, courtesy the most terrifying helicopter ever built. The AH-64 Apache. The most brutally armed weapons platform with the US Army and 15 other nations. The latest operator, the Indian Air Force, and soon the Indian Army. The Apache with the Indian Air Force happens to be the most advanced version of the helicopter that began service over 3 decades ago. The AH-64E in Indian service is a full-fledged beast that will give Indian pilots all the devastating capabilities the Apache has demonstrated over the last decade. For instance, this video footage from a US Army Apache's infrared sensors while hovering at a standoff distance, pinpointing a pickup truck and some ISIS insurgents. With intelligence confirming that the men on the ground are indeed from ISIS, the pilot has permission to engage.
Engaging, come right.
And remember, he's nowhere close to the target.
Steady platform. Firing.
Sorry, PB Stone. Mustang 3.
The Indian Apaches come formidably armed with all of the weapons you've just seen deployed in these combat videos. From the M230 chin-mounted chain gun to the devastating laser-guided Hellfire missile. The Indian Apache, in fact, can also protect itself from other aircraft as it comes armed with Stinger air-to-air missiles. But the true brain behind the Apache's terrifying reputation is its sensors and fire control system, unified in the longbow system that will be on at least half of the Apaches the Indian Army will get. The longbow radar allows the Apache to hover at distances and even target from beyond the horizon line, or from behind obstacles, a huge advantage to stay survivable in an area that could pose a terror threat from the ground. Battle-proven, and with the scars of war, India is about to sign up for more of these beasts. Bureau Report, India Today. And to talk about the Apache and what it can really do and why it's a game changer, I'm joined now by Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh and Air Marshal Anil Chopra. Welcome, gentlemen, to both of you. Thank you for being with us here. General Gurmeet Singh, to you first. The Indian Air Force has already started inducting the Apaches. The Army will now start receiving its own as part of this fresh deal. What does this mean for the Army, sir?
Firstly, it is very heartening that we have taken as a nation decision to give the same Apache helicopters to Indian Armed Forces.
Yes.
Actually, if you really look at it, it's a game changer. Firstly, from the very concept point of view, that the CDS or the jointness or the oneness has taken root. Secondly, it is going to be game changer in the form that it's the firepower, the maneuverability factor of it,
yes,
the way it is going to do an addition into maneuver warfare or specific targeting across the entire spectrum of warfare, that is going to be a major difference. This platform is known for its firepower, accuracy,
yes,
and the technology that it has got, its ability to pass down the information in the real time.
yes.
That is what is spectacular.
Okay.
And initially we had inducted for Apache for the Air Force at Pathankot.
Yes.
And now these things coming to the armed forces, Army specifically, makes a major difference in how we look at the entire gambit of transformation, modernization and equipping the Indian Armed Forces.
Air Marshal Chopra, you're a fighter pilot. Tell us a little bit about why the Apache and the technology that comes with it is such a game changer. Why is this such a scary machine to go up against?
Yeah, Shiv, I must tell you, both the deals operationally very important. The MH-60 Romeo,
yes,
it was badly required by the Indian Navy for the anti-submarine role, and now the Apache has gone to the, 6 of them have gone to the Army.
Yes.
When Indian Air Force was buying the 22 helicopters, the Army was that time also wanting to take away those 22, but I must tell you, in that deal, there was an option clause for 11 additional helicopters at the same package that the earlier helicopters have come. I'm very happy that Army is finally going to have the Apaches. They are already going to have they're having the Rudra WSI. They're also going to have the LCH. And in the time to come, they will have close to 150 attack helicopters, maybe in the next 5-6 years. See the advantages of the Apache for the Army. The Apache has an anti-tank role, has got the famous Hellfire missile, which is also coming on the MH-60 for the Navy.
Yes.
It is also going to have an air-to-air missile, which may be finally only with the Indian Air Force, but it will have the 70 mm Hydra rocket pods. The helicopter can fly as high as 6 kilometers plus, and therefore can be used even in Ladakh and North Sikkim.
Right.
A great anti-tank asset. And this will help the Army get used to the operational tactics and operational deployment of this helicopter by the time they have a significant numbers in terms of Rudra WSI as well as the LCH subsequently. I think it's a great move. I'm personally very happy. In the long term, Indian Army will have more helicopters than Indian Air Force. Today, Indian Air Force has around 400 helicopters, but once more and more ALHs, Rudras come in, the Army will have a significant helicopter force with them.
General Gurmeet Singh, you were talking about oneness and jointmanship, especially going forward under, with the Chief of Defence Staff looking at unifying the forces in a greater way. You've got the Air Force operating the Apaches, the Army will also be operating the Apaches. Does that cause any kind of a problem going forward? Should it be only one service that operates them? This has been a turf war in the past as well.
I think we've gone past that arena of turf war or looking feudalistically or narrowly on the aspect. I think with the CDS having come in, we should start looking at the jointness, oneness. At the same time, there is a requirement of a very integrated firepower system with each of the arms. Like you've seen that we gone in for Seahawks 24 in the same CCS as approved.
Yes.
And that is for the Navy. That is for the anti-submarine, anti-surface.
Correct.
Similarly, when we're going in for a maneuver warfare or something, say, in the mountains or something in the targets that are immediately, which is of importance to us. You had shown certain video clips. You have seen how does this aircraft, this Raptor makes a difference in a pinpointed target.
Exactly.
Opportunities like this combined with UAV, drones is something which is reality. I would say each arm growing in itself, in its firepower, in its technology, is adding on to the overall spectrum as such. But at the same time, there's something which is required in a very integrated form within the same armed forces.
Okay, so these new helicopters are going to be coming in. The Air Force and the Army will operate them, and the deal is all set to be announced when Donald Trump arrives in India in a couple of days from now. Air Marshal Chopra and Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with us on this big deal that's all set to be signed.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.